Steele, if you haven't started recording, can you please, sir? Excellent. Okay, everybody, thank you. Welcome to our all-hands meeting. A few pieces of housekeeping. We're going to keep everybody muted until we get to questions and answers. I'm going to go through a deck, and after the deck, we'll move to the stage area where it's a little easier to coordinate. The reason we're in this chat versus the stage area is that you're unable to share content in the stage. So unfortunately, we had to do it in here. My apologies. So I'm going to start off with a little video here. Let me know if it starts flickering. I got to switch my screen. Give me a second.
It's flickering.
Okay, hold on. I'll do it the other way then. I will do it this way.
Danny, would you relax a little bit?
I'm relaxed. I'm very fucking relaxed. But let me give you some advice.
Does it work with you guys now?
Say no to a hostage taker.
It works.
It's in the manual. Now, are you going to tell me no again?
No, I'm not.
No, wrong answer. Eliminate no from your vocabulary, Farley. Never use no, don't, won't, or can't. All right? It eliminates options. The only option that leaves is to shoot someone. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Yes, good. See, yes is good. If you say no again, I'll kill somebody. All right? Now let's practice. Can I see a priest?
Let's not. You know what? Can we just like talk?
You wanted to talk. We are talking. Now, can I see a priest?
I'll see what I can do.
That's good, Farley. Now you're learning. Now, I'd like a submachine gun so I can blow everyone away.
I'll look into that.
Good. You're doing good, Farley. You ever cheat on your wife, Farley?
No.
Watch yourself. I'll kill someone. You ever cheat on your wife? Answer.
I'll see what I can do. I'd have to think about that. I'll look into that.
You ever, dress up like a schoolgirl and get your ass spanked, Farley?
Danny, look. Okay, all I want to do is just talk to you.
I am talking. Now, did you or did you not ever dress up like a schoolgirl and get your ass spanked?
I have to look into that, Danny.
Oh, Jesus, Farley, you know, nothing against you dressing up like a little girl, but I didn't know that about you, Farley.
Danny, you know, this is really, really unproductive.
Unproductive? You're right. It is. So, tell me a joke, Farley. You know any jokes?
No.
No! You just cost someone their life, Farley. Game over!
Shot fired. Shot fired.
Shot fired. Can anyone see?
You can't talk me down. You can't make me change the deadline. Now get me Sabian. You got 6 minutes, 42, 41, 40.
Danny, is anybody hurt, Danny?
Come on the line.
Anybody hurt?
We're okay. Just don't be saying no more, motherfucker.
All right, so just wanted to start off with a little bit of fun. That's from a scene from The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson. And many of us have dealt with hostage situations, and make sure you're not saying no. Okay, so getting into our thing for today. Let me just, I got to switch around. My apologies. Okay, so you guys should see my screen. You guys see it, Wells?
Huh?
Okay. So we've done a lot of analysis over the last little bit as a new HCO team. And, you know, one of the core things we found is that we have issues around trust. And there's 3 pillars of trust that we're going to need to rebuild, and that's going to be part of what we're doing going forward. So when we talk about the pillars, so first thing we need to do is rebuild the trust of the community. So rebuild the community's trust in the BCSO, which has been eroded over the last little bit. What does that mean? That means we're going to be more professional, and we're going to get into a little bit of that in a little bit. Next up, we need to rebuild the trust in each other. I see far too much bickering amongst ourselves, not working as a team, not pulling in the same direction. And if we're all paddling in the wrong direction, we're going to go over the falls. So we need to start operating as a team and making sure that we're all being as successful as possible. Last but certainly not least, we need to rebuild the trust of the entire BCSO with the command staff. And that means we need to have equitable and transparent operations. And I'll go into that in a little bit. Okay, so how do we rebuild the trust of the community? Number one, professional interactions. I expect us at all times when we're wearing the uniform and we're on patrol to be acting in a professional manner and showing respect to the people of Blaine County. That also means appropriate levels of force. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But far too often, people escalate force beyond what's appropriate for the type. Don't be afraid to call them sir or ma'am. Show them respect. They are the citizenry, and we do work for them. So show them respect. Don't swear at them. I've seen far too often where it's not a heated situation. Someone comes up and they're told to fuck off or something like that. In a very, very heated scene, like get the fuck out of the car or something like that, that is okay, borderline. But if it's not a heated situation or a priority situation, there's absolutely no excuse for swearing at the citizenry. I was at the BCSO a couple weeks ago, and someone came up just to ask a question and was told to fuck off by the deputy, and that person got really upset. And they seemed like a pretty good RPer. They left the server and they haven't been back. So by showing them respect, and BCSO is a face of this server to the citizenry, we'll make sure that we make the good people stay. That doesn't mean that you roll over. I want you to be firm but respectful. So you can be firm, you can give orders, you can give lawful orders, but be respectful. Realize that they're a person. Just chat with people. You don't always have to be going in for arrests or whatnot. That rolls into the next thing. So let's look for more passive RP with our civs. Right now, I see some of the younger officers. They run prio to prio. They're always looking for a shooting scene or something like that. Just interact with the citizenry where it isn't just to arrest them. Talk to them. Visit the local businesses. Check in. Go to the 24/7. Get a coffee. Chat with the guy behind the screen. Do minor violation RPs, window tint, running a stop sign, etc. So doing the stuff that a cop does more day to day rather than just prio to prio shooting and all that sort of stuff. Where possible, respond to citizen questions. I've seen far too often where deputies don't take the time out of their day to talk to a citizen. And they're not on their way to a prio, they just don't want to deal with it. That's not something that we're going to allow going forward. We need to be a professional police force. And when someone comes up and says their police car is stolen, you engage in that RP with them, right? You're not just going to blow them off because something more exciting is happening. Obviously, if there's an officer down or something that you need to address, you tell them, hey, I have to go to an urgent call. If you want to stay here, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but we have to go right now. Wear an approved uniform. If plainclothes are approved, ensure they're appropriate for the situation, and take pride in the uniform, right? You guys all worked hard. You all applied. You wanted to have the uniform. You wanted to drive the car with sheriff on the side. So take pride in doing that. Next up, how do we rebuild the trust in each other? So the key thing is, I think we need to start looking for each other's to succeed. I've seen in some cases lately where people feel the need to drag others down to make themselves look better. And in my Blaine County Sheriff's Office, that's not how things are going to work. The people who are going to rise to the top are the ones who look to make everybody in the department succeed and make the department as a whole succeed. That doesn't mean we don't hold each other accountable. If somebody's doing something wrong on a scene or violating someone's law or whatnot, speak up. Stop that officer from doing it, but do it respectfully and do it with an appropriate level of force and conflict resolution. I was given a clip as part of a officer complaint the other day. and the officer had stepped over the line, and one of the other officers actually stepped in and stopped him and de-escalated the situation. And that's the kind of person we're looking for in leadership in the BCSO. As part of rebuilding trust in each other, look at yourself. When you're about to complain about somebody or go through a conflict resolution or make a complaint or escalate something to a supervisor, make sure to look at your role in that situation as well. We're going to get into conflict resolution in a little bit, but far too often I see people almost looking to be the first person at the principal's office to complain about the other person during an issue. And I really want us to use conflict resolution techniques to figure out, okay, what was my part in that argument? What was their part? How do we come together as a department and move forward? Like I said, we're going to talk about conflict resolution right now. So what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to discuss the issue. So far too often I see people getting upset. The first thing they do is run to an owner or run to a ticket or run to whatnot. If it's not a blatant rule violation or something where the person has caused a sieve that's going to leave the server or whatnot, I want you to discuss the issue with that person. We're all going to hold each other accountable. You're going to say, hey, Jones, I saw that you were on that. Just to let you know, that person took it that way. Because Jones might have been in the moment and not realized it. So the first step in conflict resolution is discussing it with the person who you feel wronged by. Make sure you understand what is the issue that is actually at fault. Make sure that you can put it into words, because if you can't put it into words, how can you explain it to the other person what they were doing? Make sure you understand how to explain why this is an issue. Not just it's against the rules, but the underlying, hey, if you do that, it's going to cause this, which is going to cause this, which is going to cause somebody to leave the server, or the BCSO to lose face, or something like that. How can we resolve it together? Before escalating the issue, if possible, see if you can resolve it with that officer, especially if it's just a conflict between two people. If that doesn't work, then you escalate the issue. Bring the issue to the appropriate level of supervision. If it's urgent, by all means, a supervisor that's on duty is the best way. If the issue is with a process, make sure you're suggesting alternatives. Hey, Sarge, I noticed that we do something this way, and it's not really working. I've seen it fail these few times, and here's why. Here's how I think it could work, right? Always come with solutions if you're talking about an issue with a process. Last but certainly not least, we have the formal reporting process. So this is the officer tickets. It's in our Discord here and also in the main Discord for civilians to use. Those are for severe issues where rules are broken, and those are referred to the disciplinary team. And we're going to get in a little bit as to what some of the things we're going to do when a complaint is received. How are we going to rebuild trust with command? So we're going to make sure our operations are transparent. I'm committing to the entire department that we're going to be transparent with what we're doing. We're going to seek feedback where appropriate. And, when we make a decision, we're going to give you the reasons for that decision. We're going to lead by example. The old HCO staff, they would run around in Hawaiian shirts at Mach 3 doing all sorts of silly things. How can they hold the deputies accountable when they're doing that sort of thing? So you're going to see the high command staff being a lot more professional, the command staff being more professional, and the supervisory staff being more professional. And that leading by example will trickle down to the rest of the department. We're going to listen and act on suggestions. You'll see later, we went through all those applications that were received for command, high command, and supervisory positions. And we've identified some items that were themes that we saw throughout it. And we're going to be acting on those to improve the way that we all operate so that everybody's happy being here and we're a more professional force for the citizens. Last but certainly not least, favoritism. That doesn't exist anymore. And I'll get into that a little more in a second. So what are some of the concerns we heard? Priorities take too much time. So we're working on the admin and dev team to make some changes to the prio system. One of them has already been put in place, which is if a prio is short and or didn't include the entire department, we may waive cooldown and go straight back to available. Second was what I just talked about. Third, we're going to make a change to swarming. And I've got a picture of a little kid's soccer game, and you see they're all going at the ball. I see this a lot during our priorities. We're not going to have everybody swarm to a priority where the entire department is there if not needed. So we're going to be training our supervisors and scene commanders and CID to be able to call off if they have enough deputies and make sure that the other ones can disregard and go back on patrol and keep doing passive RP with the other civs while we're on the priority. The next concern we heard is about the quality of some of the new deputies. So we're going to be looking at a full revamp of the training in the FTO system. And we're also going to be putting new supervisor accountabilities that are going into play. We heard issues about the promotion system and favoritism. We'll be talking about that in a second. We heard issues about subdivisions. We're going to be making some changes around that. And we've heard issues around time tracking. Boy, have we heard issues around time tracking. So we're going to be getting in front of that. Last thing, but certainly not least, arguing in front of civs. This is not acceptable anymore. If you take one thing away from this, I'm going to be covering a lot of stuff today, but if you take one thing away from this, it's professionalism. No longer are we going to be clowns out on the street wearing a uniform and driving a car. We're going to be a highly disciplined, highly professional police force. If that's not what you're here for, I'll understand you coming to my office after the meeting and submitting your resignation. But we're going to be professional, and we're going to put a good foot forward, not only for the BCSO, but for ZRP. Chain of command. So we have lost some excellent leaders recently because it was the go straight to the top routine. And that's not going to fly anymore. So we're going to start following the chain of command. So what does that mean? You have a question? First thing to do, ask your peers. Hey, I'm having problems with this. How have you handled this in the past? If that doesn't help, ask a supervisor. If there's a supervisor on, that's great. You can ask them right away. If not, ask in Discord. Ask a command member. So the next level after the supervisors are the command levels, the lieutenants, captains, and majors. Only after you've stepped through all of these would you ask an HCO. HCO is the acronym for High Command Officer. Only after you've stepped through all of these would you ask parts. Only after you've stepped through all of these would you go to an admin. And only after you've stepped through all of these would you go to the owner. Okay? What was happening before is people would jump straight to this level and it would burn people out. Okay? Now, this does not mean that I don't have an open door policy. Everybody will notice that my office is open to everybody and I will allow you to come in and talk to me. However, if you're bringing a complaint or an issue to me, I will have expected you to step through these steps before you get to me, and I'll ask you, oh, which supervisor did you ask for? Or which supervisor did you ask about this you didn't get an answer for? So make sure you're stepping through and you're following the chain of command. Someone just pinged me. Let me see what that was. Is it something urgent? No. Okay. Use of Force Continuum. So this was addressed in the last BCSO all hands meeting. And I think it's important to note two things. Linguini talked about always escalating force, but you need to de-escalate as well. And we're going to go through this a little bit. So this is the use of force continuum. And what it is it means you start with just you being there, right? Just you being there, just your presence may de-escalate things. Not necessarily in Sandy Shores, right? We're dealing with a citizenry that is kind of militarized. So officer presence may or may not. I've actually seen officer presence escalate the situation, especially when you're calling multiple officers to the scene. Now, I'm hoping that is a side effect of the fact that we haven't treated civs with the respect they deserve, and they think that when more officers come, it's not just someone stopping by to see that everything's okay. It's that, hey, I'm going to get arrested. But again, don't call more officers to the scene than you need because it gets the civ upset. Verbal commands. Non-aggressive. Make sure that they are firm but respectful, and escalate your verbal commands the same way you escalate your force. Start with asking, hey, do me a favor, just step out of the car, talk to me over here. And then you would escalate to, okay, I'm ordering you out of the car, come talk to me on the side of the road. And then you would escalate beyond that. When you would use this is when they're compliant, non-aggressive. There's no risk, right? The next level of force is physical control holds and OC spray. Now, this is difficult because of the mechanics we have in the server. But I consider when you grab somebody using the M menu, a physical hold. Okay? This is when they're resisting, but they're not threatening you with any assaultive behavior. Next level, that's when you get into your baton or your taser. This is when they're physically aggressive, assaultive, or they're going to cause injury to others, or when we don't have the ability based on the mechanics in the system to move to this level. So if they're in the car, and actually I learned something new yesterday. You can actually get somebody out of a car. So we're going to be doing some training about that in the future. So we're going to go through that. But someone doesn't want to get out of the car. They're sitting there demanding, oh, I'm not getting out. If they're not following your orders, I'm fine with you pulling out your baton or your weapon and getting them out. After you've followed the appropriate steps, asking, ordering, trying to use the mechanics that I'm talking about where you can get in this car and unseat them or something like that. I'll get somebody to put a note out about that. Then you would move to your taser or whatnot. Deadly force is for when they have killed another officer, when there's a threat of them killing an officer, an immediate and definite threat, not just, I think they might have killed somebody. Then you can use lethal force. Okay. Lethal force is not just your firearm. Lethal force is your car. If somebody's got a machine gun and is spraying down the SO, hit them with your car. Lethal was authorized. A car is a lethal weapon as well. Okay. As we come down the other side of the triangle, the pyramid, you can de-escalate as well. If you've escalated to your electronic weapon and they start to comply, you can move back down to officer presence and verbal commands. You don't always need to escalate here. So that's the key thing here, guys. I want you, guys and gals, using the appropriate level of force for the situation and adjusting the level of force based on the resistance and the risk you're getting from the civilian. Okay? Again, if you have any questions, write them down. We'll go in the other room and we'll talk about them in a minute. How are we going to address underperformance? First way to do that is setting a higher standard for everyone. Okay? If I haven't made it clear, the standards are raising for everybody. In the moment coaching. So we're going to talk about what that means in a minute, but that means if you've done something wrong or you futzed something up, we're going to talk to you about it at the moment and make sure that you understand it while it's still fresh in your mind and while you can recall what occurred. We're going to have better methods of coaching. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to continue the disciplinary committee with Wells. And we are considering a monthly recertification for certain levels of deputy. And we're going to be enforcing progressive discipline. We're going to have more decisive actions to remove those not suitable for BCSO. I've seen in the past where we let toxic cancers remain in the department, and that's not going to fly because all they do is they cause strife and drama in the department and make everybody less professional. So what does progressive discipline look like? It starts with coaching. Coaching doesn't work, then it's an official warning. If an official warning doesn't work, we move to suspension or demotion. And if that doesn't work, termination. We don't need to step through all of these steps based on the severity of what's being dealt with. We can jump straight to any point in here. However, for most things, we'll follow the progressive discipline continuum. Let's talk a little bit about coaching. In the past little bit, I've seen coaching being angry or yelling. The person doing the coaching is far too passionate about it. They're doing it in the heat of the moment. It's disjointed. They haven't had a chance to collect their thoughts. Okay, here's what went wrong. Here's how we fix it. They just want to yell about it and make it public that they disagreed with what happened. And they also do it in public. Good coaching is supportive, looking for improvement. It's calm and collected, which is going to get the message across, and it's targeted. If you see one deputy doing something, you don't call the entire shift down to the BCSO and ream them all a new asshole. That's not going to get anything across. People shut their brains off and they just think you're an asshole. If you see somebody doing something wrong, ride with them. Hey, you mind if I ride with you for a little bit? You chat with them about what happened, what they could have done, what you've seen in your experience, that sort of thing. I want to move from a yelling to a coaching environment. This is part of us respecting each other and building trust. On the flip side of it, how are we going to address good performance? So we're going to have more in-the-moment rewards. Someone mentioned to me, they go, when someone does really good, we don't offer them to go unmarked anymore. We don't offer them, in-the-moment rewards. We don't even offer them kudos. Hey, you guys did a really good job at that scene. I've started to see that more over the last few days, and I want to see more of that because it's not only not even punishing, coaching poor performance, it's also recognizing good performance. We're going to ensure that that good performance is recorded in supervisor channels so everybody knows about it, and then it's reflected at promotion time. Again, like I said, positive reinforcement on patrol when something goes well. And the other thing about this is, while we coach in private, we praise in public. So if somebody pulls the entire department or the entire shift after a scene to say, hey guys, here's what went really well in that last scene, a little bit of constructive criticism, that's awesome. I think that's great for our folks to do as long as it's not taking away too much time from the civs, but that's great. Praise in public. The next thing we heard about is promotions. So promotions were a problem. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing more midstream promotions for meritorious actions. So when someone does something really good and we think they're ready for the next step, we're going to promote them right away. We're not going to wait for the weekly promotions. Any double promos are going to require a message indicating why the deputy is receiving a double promotion. I want to talk a little bit about favoritism. My favorites, they're the officers that do good work. They're the ones who are showing the civs what BCSO is capable of. This isn't a unionized employment. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care if you did 1,000 hours last week. It's not possible, but if you did 1,000 hours, right? It's the quality of the work you're doing. And supervisors, you're not just getting there because you're doing a lot of work and it's the next step. You need leadership ability. Okay,
Joe,
we're building.
saying something real quick.
Go ahead.
When you're in the deputies and like the 8 Sarah, 9 Sarah, 7 Sarah, etc., you're gonna get promoted awfully quick. But once you start getting up the roles and you're starting to get to corporal, senior corporal, sergeant, that's when your promotions start to slow down. So if you sit at a spot for 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, maybe it's for a reason. So don't take it personal and just keep on doing what you're doing, unless obviously you're doing something bad, but just do all the good work that you were doing to get to that position and you'll get promoted.
That is an excellent point, Wells. So number one, promotions slow down, but the expectations of you go up, right? So I expect a lot more of a sergeant than I do of a probationary deputy. So keep that in mind moving forward. Talking a little bit more about promotions. So what does it take? I talked a little bit about I don't care if you did 1,000 hours, but if you did 0 hours, that's another indication that you're not ready. So time logged does go into it. What is the quality of the service you provided? Did we hear a lot of complaints from civs? Did we get kudos from civs? Were you recognized by sergeants for doing a good work, or command staff, or HCOs? All that sort of stuff. The quality of service you're providing. That professionalism. When you're dealing with civs, are you being professional? Are you putting BCSO in a positive light? If you're talking about a leadership position, supervisory, do you have leadership ability? There are certain people that make it to senior corporal, and that's the top of where they're going to get in the near future until we do a lot of coaching and readiness for them. Now, I'm committing to those people that don't have that we're going to work with you and coach with you and get you where you need to be, but that's going to be something that's going to limit your ability to be promoted. To that point, are you ready for the next level? Some people just aren't ready. Last but certainly not least, are they the right fit for the role? Some people may not be fit for the next role, even if they are okay leaders. So recently we went through the HCO command staff and supervisor app. This gave us an opportunity to hear a lot of awesome feedback, which hopefully many of you are seeing things you put in there reflected in this presentation and in the commitments we're making to each other going forward. So we've got some new HCOs. First off, you've got me as the sheriff. Hollow has come back in as the commander. Ignacio has been promoted to colonel. Iggy has tremendous experience, and I have nothing but trust that he can lead in the direction we want to go. Smidgey's been promoted for all the good work he's doing on training, and he's got a big road ahead of him to climb and build that new training environment for us. Last but certainly not least, somebody who wasn't given the recognition that they were due for all of the work they do is A. Smith. Just an amazing officer, an amazing leader, and I'm very happy to have him on the HCO staff. So I'm very happy that this process gave me the ability to put in place the leaders that we needed to make the changes we need in BCSO. But there was also command staff and supervisors that were promoted as part of this process as well. Irish has been promoted to major. I can't see who's in chat right now, but Irish has been tremendous over the last few weeks. The guy is just working his ass off. He's putting out a lot of good quality stuff for us, and I couldn't be happier with him. I would have to say Irish is on a fast track to an HCO position. So great job, Irish. Keep it up. I've asked Swamp to come back. He came back at his sergeant position and was promoted as part of this. He filled out an application to captain, and I will be reinstating him as the CID director. Last but certainly not least, Grippa has been doing a great job. He's being promoted to lieutenant, and he is now taking the highway patrol. Along with command staff, I needed some supervisors that I have confidence in that could be out on the road and doing what we need to make sure that officers are doing what they need to. So let's talk about the new supervisors. First off, Sanchez has been promoted to sergeant. Officer Sanchez has shown great ability as an officer. He's able to coach others and show them how to do things the right way. And I think he'll be a great addition to the supervisor team. A newer person, and to be fair, I don't know Pi very well, but as we were going through the applications, we came across Pi's application. First off, application was amazing. Second off, every piece of feedback I heard about this officer was amazing. Everybody has nothing but confidence in his leadership ability. And also we've received several civilian commendations on his performance. So welcome to the supervisory team, J. Pi. I've asked a couple back. I've asked Moreno to come back as his former position as sergeant. And I've also asked Lost to come back as a master sergeant. We're going to be working on getting some time together with the supervisors, commanders, and whatnot to talk about how we do the new professionalism standards and how we do the new coaching and disciplinary statuses.
I'd also like to say that there were many, many good applications out there. And I mean, it was a hard decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank all of you for applying, really.
Yeah, definitely. Well done, everybody. There were some who didn't quite put the effort I would have liked to have seen into it, but the vast majority were well done. Next up, some changes we're making with subdivisions. So high-speed unit is merging with highway patrol. Lieutenant M. Grippa will be commanding that. MOD has been shut down. All officers will be able to activate boats. K9 is on hold until version 6 of ZRP. Now, what does that mean for K9? K9 is still active. They're still able to roll in their Tahoes and whatnot. They just won't have a dog with them, and we can't RP any dog stuff until V6 because either they're going to fix the animal ped or they're going to give us an AI animal. Okay. There's a few other new items coming. I know it's been a long time, guys. Just one more slide here, and then we'll get going. So new items coming. So like I said, we're coming up with a new training syllabus. I want an entirely new one. I want a handbook for the deputies to be able to study with. That's going to have more details about day to day, some of the laws we see regularly, how to deal with things, whatnot. We're going to have some targeted training, SWAT, Air One, breaching, even just, hey, Gripple wants to have pursuit training. Great. We're going to put it on. We're going to put an event out there and it'll be advertised to everybody. So we're going to have a lot more targeted training based on small little pieces. We're going to rewrite our SOPs and by extension to this, rules. So this is going to be going on over the next couple of weeks. We're going to review the uniform standard. I'm working with the dev team as part of V6 to take a look at EUP and what's included in it. I'm happy to announce that we are going to be able to start doing trial RP. So CID team, be ready for this. I think Swamp may be having a meeting later today with you guys and gals, and this is going to be a big piece of it. What this means for all officers is that don't be afraid to call CID to a big scene that is interesting and high quality. It may end up as a trial. V6 ideas, don't forget to put in your V6 ideas in the Discord. I believe there's a channel specifically for it in the main Discord. So put your ideas in there and they may just make it into V6. Last but certainly not least, the biggest complaint we heard, new time tracking system. We will be moving to Clockify. So look for more information on that in the next day or two. Irish is setting this up for us and expect to hear about that shortly. Maybe it was Irish. Maybe it was someone else. My apologies if I got it wrong. That was all I had. So that's the end of my presentation. What we're going to do, everybody, is we're going to move down to the meeting room. And from there, we will go ahead and do the rest. All right, welcome. Let's get the HCOs up here with me, please. If you're an HCO, you should be able to get up here. Okay, so you guys have heard enough about me. Like I said, next step is I'm going to let the HCOs all have a bit of a word. Then we're going to open the floor to any questions. So be ready to put your hand up. We would then bring you up to speak, ask your question, and answer it. So next up is Mr. Wells. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, I got nothing to say besides promotions, really. I just like how you guys have been doing good work recently and showing some great dedication and leadership. Nothing.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Good job. Hollow. Welcome, Hollow.
Yeah, I just want to tell all of you guys that I'm proud of you guys, like clocking on and getting on, like compared to last week, compared to now. I've drastically seen an improvement, and not in just hours, just your RP, like it's drastically improved by just a switch up of like high command and like a few supervisors and stuff, and it's just amazing.
That's an excellent point that Hollow makes. I have been really impressed the last couple days with our numbers, but also with how we've been doing. And Swamp, I got to say, I've been on a couple scenes and it's so nice to have you back showing us how to lead a scene command. And I want everybody to pay attention to how some of the more senior officers do it. Because when we're not on or when CID isn't around, you officers need to do the same thing. So hopefully you're emulating a lot of what you're seeing. So you guys are all doing awesome. Next up, Iggy.
I just wanted to say something similar to what Hollow said. Over the last couple of weeks or days, actually, you guys have gotten a lot better. The quality of RP has been a lot better. I haven't seen that much of messing around on duty, which I'm very happy to see that. And you guys are overall better, so I'm very proud of you guys for that. That's
excellent. Mr. Smith.
Yes, please. So I've noticed some things with Signal 100. Just want to address it. So when there's an active priority, Signal 100 is automatically in effect. That means that you shouldn't be transmitting if you're going by 10.8 or 10.7. I recommend you do /Leo chat and then put it there. I would also like, when we do a ticket, that you let the higher ups who take the tickets and answer them close them and reopen them. I don't want deputies close them. It makes our job much easier for the ticket system.
Excellent. Thank you, Smith. And actually, yes, that is one of the things that. Anyway, sorry, my brain froze on me. All right, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put your hand up. Swamp, I just wanted to open it up for you to, if you had anything to add with the revamp of CID.
I'm gonna be introducing a few new things, but with how you were saying those targeted trainings, I think I might in the near future put a negotiation training out there so people know how to properly handle a negotiation. So
Ooh, that would be amazing.
we're not having any dead hostages on our hands. And then also with the return of DOJ, be on the lookout for some new cases and some trials. So that's about it.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hopper, I'm going to invite you to speak. You might have to accept that. Or sorry, Bagger.
Except pretty violent and Sanchez.
Yep. Mr. Bagger, go ahead, sir.
So, hello and thank you for letting me speak. I have a couple of questions regarding your presentation.
Sure, fire away.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen sometimes that people tend to escalate or de-escalate the situation. But for example, I had a problem, I think, on Friday where I had a drunk man driving, and he was not like very cooperative since he was under the influence. He was, for example, getting out of his car, walking towards me. And to be honest, I don't know what to do in those situations. Just request backup, arrest them, negotiate. I don't know, because since they're under the influence, they're not basically, let's say, mentally fit to.
Yeah. So not having been in that situation, I would say if he wasn't exhibiting any weapons, I would go with handholds, which would start with a drag and a cuff. But again, you were in the situation and you would use the level of force that you felt authorized. And again, the level of force that is applied is to a reasonable officer's standard. So if a reasonable officer would feel that they needed to move to their taser, then you would be justified in doing that. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, what I did is just call backup, so there's like more people around him. Because
Definitely.
he was kind of violent, like screaming that he doesn't want to come towards me, and so he actually had a bottle on his hand, so that could be
Ooh, definitely taser.
dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've seen some people, especially younger or let's say newer officers, kind of driving recklessly. Sometimes I see them coming. There's like a, I don't know, kind of like a little elevated space down the train tracks.
Yep. Panorama drive.
Yeah. If there's like a 1080, I just see Crown Victoria flying every time. Even though
Yes.
they're like going, I don't know. Even if you slow down, you kind of jump a little. But I even had a crash the other day with one of them.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. That is a huge issue, everybody. And when I'm talking about professionalism, that includes the way you drive. When you're in a 1080, your job is to do it safely. We're not going to be jumping from the tracks over Joshua Road and all that sort of stuff. You're going to slow down. You're going to make sure you're clearing your intersections. If you lose the suspect, you lose the suspect, especially if you weren't pulling them over for murder or something. Okay, so keep that in mind. Thank you for bringing that up, Beggar. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, I have a question, but I think this is regarding more after the meeting for HSU. So
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll send you back down.
Next, we got Sanchez.
Hold on, I'm going to move Wiley up first.
All right.
Wiley, I've invited you to speak.
Wiley.
If there was something you wanted to mention.
I mean, I invited him to speak before.
Oh, okay. So he might have said that he didn't want to talk. All right, I'm going to leave that open for you, Wiley, if you'd like. Sanchez, going to invite you to speak, sir. Okay. Sanchez might be having technical difficulties. While we're waiting on that, let's move to RBs.
Sanchez, you gotta accept it as well.
Do you guys see a little thing at the top saying accept?
There it goes.
There you go. All right, Sanchez, your floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. I just want to say thank you guys for giving me this promotion. It means a lot to me. When I first joined the server, this was my intention to begin with, was to become a leader and to teach everybody what it can be really like to be a part of a community that is great and is not just a community but a giant family, and that's the way I see this. With that being said, I just want to give a little bit of words of inspiration for the guys, because I know a lot of you guys were upset that you guys weren't getting promoted. So, word to the wise here. I'm 29. I've lived a pretty crappy life, I'm not gonna lie. I've learned a lot of good life lessons out of my life, though. For one of them, when I was working at a car wash, okay, I worked at a $7.6 million recently renovated express car wash. I went in there as a tunnel loader, pretty much as the people you'll see loading cars onto the track and telling you foot off the brake, blah, 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 and then we send you through. There was a poster in our office that said Road to Success. And on this poster, it had all the different positions you can be, from sales associate, who would be pretty much greeting the customer. And this is why I'm saying this. For example, if you guys as officers are technically sales associates, you're the very first thing, okay, that people realize are in this lobby. This is a ZRP BCSO like supported lobby, okay? BCSO is pretty much the salesperson. You want to give off the best impression you can to keep people from coming back. Like I've heard other people say earlier, there was people who really did good RP and left, but if I may add and interject here, I don't think it's just because of that. I think some things, as we talked about as well, has a lot to do with the length of the scenes. A lot of people, the way we handle the prios, as Joan said, there's a lot of people that just go and flock all to one scene, which leaves the entire county of Blaine uncovered. So there could be a fire. Fire people need to have traffic control. If we're all at the scene, we cannot respond to them. We have endangered the community because we have all of our resources in one spot where they should not be. Now, I'm not sitting here saying don't respond to it, but what I'm saying is, and this is something my manager told me, use diligence. Make the right choices. Think before you make those choices, and think real hard, because every choice you make has a consequence. Every action has a reaction. Newton's law, blah blah blah. But if you guys really just put the dedication, the time in, and you show these guys that you're here for the long run, you will get promoted and you will get noticed. And I want to open my arms to anybody. If you guys ever want any advice, any help, training, anything, even if you just say, hey, I don't feel like driving, can I ride along with you? Can you teach me something? Don't be afraid to ask me. I'm willing to help everybody and anybody. And yeah, I'm pretty much here for you guys. So thank you.
Thanks, Sanchez. Happy to have you on the supervisor team. Okay, I think we've got Arby's already here. So Arby's, I'll let you speak. And while we're doing that, I will start calling the next person up.
With tying into what Bagger said, make sure we're not recklessly driving. I've seen way too many officers going into oncoming lanes of traffic, and even tie it with Sanchez said, use diligence. Think before you do. Yeah, you're an officer. You're not here to endanger others, so make the right choice and drive in the right lane of traffic. And another thing to think about is that we don't carry 6 magazines of Glock 19 ammo and 20 mags of M4 ammo. Just reminder, I mean, we only carry about 2 to 3, if any, for the firearms we are issued to help us do our job. So, I mean, you have 1 in your gun, you have 2 on your belt for a Glock, all right? I mean, at the end, return back to your vehicle, RP that you grab a few more mags and get back in the fight.
I have 9,000. I'm just kidding. That's a joke, but he does bring forward a good thing. I see too many people pulling magical shit out of their ass. Like try to RP it out. Like when I go and get a body bag or a med kit, I run back to my car, right? I might even open the trunk, but I'm old and I have a hard time with the F menu. So good point, Arby's. Back to you, sir.
That's pretty much everything I had to say. Appreciate what you guys are doing for the server right now in general, because I mean everything's been
And
uplifting.
we appreciate you, Arby's. You are one of the prime candidates for future leaders. So don't think that we haven't noticed your performance, sir.
I guess like bouncing off what Arby said, in the future, we may implement like the max ammo count for pistols, or would be, let's just say 120 or 90, whatever, like 3 mags is, 4 mags is, right? And then I don't know, you have to like RP go into your car in the F1 menu, you'd have to just give yourself more ammo, basically.
Would that be like the reset taser command type of thing?
A little bit, yeah.
That'd be cool.
There is something you can do in the meantime if you guys would like to do that. You can go when you're in your F1 menu, in your weapon options, you can limit your ammo. I'm not sure if that's still in, but if you guys want to look into that, it is very useful.
Sounds good. And then guys, RP it, right? Like what vest are you wearing? If you're wearing a vest full of ammo, give yourself more, right? So make it like you're RPing. Try to live in the moment as much as you can. Next up, Mr. Enzo. And while we're calling Enzo Green, I will invite you to the stage as well. Enzo, go ahead, sir.
All right. Everyone's all right. I just want to give a quick thing about Jones's PowerPoint. When it comes to the discipline side of things, it needs to be, like I saw in the presentation, it does need to be a lot stricter. I mean, I've been where these guys have been before in high command. It's a fucking pain in the ass when people don't like pay attention and shit. So if you do see like them going around, please pay them respect. It is a hard job when it comes down to it. But going back to the discipline side of things, I have seen recently, obviously I haven't clocked in for a little bit, but in the past I've seen discipline start to slip, and in my eyes discipline is one of them really key factors that must be upheld at all times, because if a unit such as the BCSO, or don't care what subdivision you are, if you have no discipline for no one, then you're no use to anybody. All right. So that's one of the main things that really pops up for me. And yeah, I just hope we can get back on track. And that's
Definitely. And guys, I'm not here to make friends with you. If you're not holding up your end of the bargain, I'm going to ask you to politely leave. So it's no longer going to be like I'm not going to be afraid to hurt your feelings. I'm going to do what's right for the BCSO. Thanks, Enzo. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, if I could speak to you afterwards, that'd be great.
Certainly. All right, Mr. Green.
So a few things. First of all, I want to congratulate the new high command, command staff, and supervisors. And I think you're going to do a great job with rebuilding the trust of the community and stuff. Secondly, I've noticed a lot during scenes, like let's say someone robs the bank, 3 suspects dead inside, and then like 1 officer down outside. Either like no one tends to anyone and just walks around with ARs in their hand and don't really do anything, or like 9 officers are helping the downed officer. Like it is possible to split up and help different people with first aid. A lot of people like avoid doing first aid because they think it's rough or something. So that's the first thing. Secondly, during 10-11s and stuff, I've seen mostly probies pulling up like straight behind the suspect, so they like don't angle anything and they walk out and go in front of their own vehicle, in between the vehicles. So just remember that you're supposed to like angle your vehicle so you have some form of protection when you're leaving the vehicle, and then walk around the back of your cruiser onto the passenger side of the suspect. I think that's it.
And those are both great points, Green. We're going to be addressing those in the SOPs. So what he's talking about is, it's called the Patrolman's Alley, and it gives you cover if something happens at the car. With regards to 1080s, so there's a hard limit of 4 in the train behind the car, unless you're called as an additional by whoever primary is. That doesn't mean other officers can't go around and try to position themselves to be able to cut them off or lay spikes. but I don't want to see 20 cars and a train running around Sandy Shores. With regards to scenes, I've been asked to put a hard limit in on scenes. I'm reticent to do that. I want to leave it up to the scene commanders to call off additional units if they're not required, because we have enough. If we don't see that working, then we will institute hard caps on certain types of scenes. Langley, you're next, sir.
All right. Situation that has been brought up and chained to me is our priorities. When there's a 1080 going down and an officer is hit and is in distress, cancel off of that pursuit and attend to that officer. If Air 1 is up, Air 1 can keep with the suspect in question, keep up with the pursuit, and give out sufficient callouts. I want the officer in distress to be our number one priority, because you stopping and rendering aid can be the final seconds of his life, and you can save his life. And when we have officers continuing to pursue and that injured officer bleeds out and dies, it really looks bad on all of us.
Wholeheartedly agree. Anything else, sir?
I'd say our driving with 1080s, you know, we have blunt tags for a reason. Watch out for blunt tags on your map. If you see an officer coming, not Jesus, down the lane, don't pull out in front of him. You have a map, use it.
Yep, definitely.
Right.
Anything else, Mr. Langley? Sorry, we've been going a long time. I want to. I'm not trying to give you guys the bum's rush, but I don't want to be off the server for too long. Mr. Grippa.
First off, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is for you guys. Real quick, I just want to address some things, and by that I mean I'm going to literally address one thing. As previously mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation with the merge of HSU and HP, HSU will be holding a meeting after this one. It'll probably take about 5 minutes. It really shouldn't be that long. I'm going to answer the specific questions to those, because I knew I was getting some people DMing me during this meeting when that was announced. Just hold off on those. They're going to be discussed during this meeting. If you are current HP and or current HSU, please try to be in that meeting. It's going to be directly after this one. I'm just going to address some questions, comments, concerns. It'll be really quick. It's pretty
awesome. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Mr. Lost.
I'll make it real quick. Just going off what Sanchez said, I believe this goes for all supervisors, but if we're here if you need help, obviously follow the chain of command, but if you're having difficulty with something, like, please come to us. It really helps.
Definitely. Thank you. Okay, I've invited Bagger and Smidgy. I'm going to invite Curd, Steel, and Pie. You guys can come up and we'll just go through you guys quick. Curd, you're first. Go ahead, sir.
All right, so I already forgot who was talking about this. I think it was it Langley or somebody was talking about on-scene people all flocking to the officer. So there's this thing called priority of life. So on your highest chain is officers and other first responders that are on scene. You treat them first. Your second is like innocent civilians, hostages, anyone that isn't an offender. And usually those first two chains get linked together. If you see them, treat them first. If nobody's treating them, you treat them. Then once you do that, you move on to criminals and stuff like that that are sort of secondary. You treat the people that are important first, and we don't need 9 people treating one person. Treat the people that are most important, and then treat the other people after. But
that is an excellent point.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
And also, scene commander. When you're a scene commander, I want you directing those operations even after we've put the suspect down. You're still scene command until it's code 4.
Next up, Bagger.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. I do have some suggestions / questions / things to say, and I don't know if it's gonna be too long. So if you think it's too long, Jones, can I DM you after it? Or?
Sure. Is there anything burning that you think everybody has to hear, and we can address that here?
Yeah. One thing that has happened to me, actually, Kurt was with me when this happened yesterday, I think. It's officers, EMS, and FD leaving way before the scene ends. For example,
Yes.
yesterday we had
Oh
a
my God. Thank
massive
you.
shootout. There was like 4 officers down, 3 suspects with theirs, everything. They left. EMS left. There was still 5 officers down, something like that. 2 suspects down. It was me, Kurt, and a probie there doing medical to all of them. And then FD, they never answer RTO for some reason. Like when we need them, they don't answer. When they're not needed, they answer and keep asking like, "Do you 911 calls? Are we needed and stuff?" Like it's kind of annoying. I don't know if it's intended or not, but it does not help with the scenes.
Yeah. A
And
couple
then-
things on that. Sorry if I could just jump in.
Yeah.
With regards to at a scene leaving, make sure you're checking out with the scene commander, the primary, before you leave a scene, unless it's for an officer down or code 99. With regards to RTO, it's not only fire department. I have received multiple complaints that somebody's calling for 32s or something like that, and there are officers that are on patrol just dipsy doodling around and they're not responding to a 32 request. That's not going to be acceptable going forward. Sorry, Beggar, back to you.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, yeah, I was trying to address this on the old server. Even if you're, I don't know, busy or something, at least you can say, sorry, I'm not available. Any other Leo officers or something like that. Because
Definitely.
it's really not helpful to just feel ignored. That way you just don't ask for.
Definitely. And do we have any dispatchers here? If we do, I haven't seen you on ever dispatching. So let's get some dispatchers going and that'll alleviate that problem as well. Anything else, Bagger, that we need to talk with everybody?
Yes, this suggestion I did on the old server actually got some likes, and I wanted to ask if how you feel, High Command, about this. Was if there's ever another relaxed roster to have more limitations to it, because if it's just open, it's kind of, let's say, problematic, especially with people, for example, that don't know how to handle a fast car. I just see them crashing or abusing them, if you know what I mean.
Well, we do that to allow them to get a little bit of a feel and congratulate them because they're doing such a good job. And I mean, if we have to take it away from them, that means that we'll have to question.
No, I mean,
I
I understand that point.
We want to do more relaxed rosters for everybody because you guys are been deserving of it. But
we want everybody to have fun. And I think people forget that there's brakes on these cars. So make sure you slow down, guys. I don't want people driving everywhere with their hair on fire all the time. We got to drive realistically, guys and gals. Anything else, Bagger?
Yeah, there's actually a suggestion for everyone. I see a lot of people stopping other civilians for speeding or something like that, and most of the times they assume they're going too fast. But I do think one thing that we should all do is when we get on duty, set up our camera. That way we can read plates if they have bolo on them, plus actually check and lock their speeds. That's actually really helpful. I've stopped like 5
Can you
people.
send me instructions on how to get the camera going then? I don't have that.
Actually, that's what I wanted to say. When I got my training, I was never told how to set up the camera until like on Friday. I knew how to.
Ooh,
If it
send me
someone that
deets on that.
explained me.
Yeah, we'll add to the
If
SOP.
someone didn't explain me that, I still wouldn't know how to set up the camera.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
It's fairly easy, but yeah.
All right, sorry, Bagger, I'm going to have to move on. Mr. Steele.
All right, so first of all, I do want to welcome everybody who's got promoted over the last couple weeks. Couple things I wanted to bring up in relation to everything that we've been talking about. First of all, I support all these changes that are coming in. Along with everyone else, I have noticed everything that's been going on, especially when I'm flying around the server as moderator. A lot of you guys may have noticed recently, I managed to move up to a moderator position within the server. So I'm flying around, keeping an eye on scenes like that, and if there's a high priority scene that police end up going to, I'm most likely going to be hovering over that to watch over you guys' performance, see how you guys are doing, and if I see good things about that, I will probably find you and hop into your vehicle or something, pull you aside or something, and just say, hey, you're doing a good job on that. Another thing I want to point out here is, even though I'm going to likely be doing more moderation stuff within the server, if you have any questions, especially for the newer guys, if you guys got any questions related to BCSO and you don't want to pull an officer away from their patrol duties, you can just PM me in game, and I can come teleport to you and we can talk about a couple things. Also, for some new guys, if you aren't aware, every now and again I do stream my patrols, and there's a lot of valuable information you can learn from those. So if you ever want to take a look at those, I should have my YouTube linked in my Discord bio. By all means, go check those out, because there's loads of information about what to do in certain situations and stuff. So I know that's a lot of information there, but I wanted to get
bit of self-promotion from Mr. Steele.
No, come on, Jones.
I'm kidding. His videos are good. I used to watch them too.
Yeah.
To
So
learn
if you guys got any questions there, don't be afraid to PM me in game if I'm on there. If I'm not on as BCSO, I'm likely doing moderation. So if you have any questions, you can just PM me in game. I'll teleport to you. We can discuss some things. Yeah, that's really all I had to say in relate. Welcome to everybody who got promoted again.
Awesome. Thank you, Steele. One thing I wanted to say, you bring forward, congratulations to everybody who was promoted. This was a special promotion cycle. We will be having promotions later today on our regular cycle. So please don't think that if you didn't get promoted before the meeting, you're not getting something this week. We'll be doing the regular cycle later today.
And just bugging on that, if you were promoted inside of this for the application, just know that you will not be receiving a promotion for a little bit. We're going to keep you at your position for a little bit, and you're just going to stick at your position.
All right, let's quickly keep moving. Mr. Pye, welcome to the team, sir.
I appreciate it. Anyone that gave me a commendation, I appreciate you. I know a lot of officers came to me, DM'd me, saying that they, recommended me for whatever. To anyone that did that, I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me. Just one thing I want to cover real quick is every time that there's a shootout involving officers and criminals, we need to make sure that all officers are accounted for before the scene is called Code 4. Because I've had 3 instances where I just bled out because no officers tended to me. No one even realized I was down. Had multiple officers clear off calls, and like I said, it happened 3 times in a row, involving pretty much really everyone that was on yesterday and the day before that. So just make sure that every time that there's a shootout with law enforcement, that all of us are accounted for before the scene is cleared as Code 4 or called Code 4.
Definitely
That's
good
all.
point. I laid dead in front of the BCSO for about 25 minutes one day.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Allowed me to
It's
get my
really not
Discord
fun.
stuff caught up, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
all I
Mr.
have to
Pye.
say. But once again, thanks for the promotion. I appreciate you.
Yeah, nothing but great things, and I think you're going to really help with the professionalism in the department. Next up, I think Knock, you were next.
Yo, there's 2 things I want to mention. The first one is 32 supervisor requests, just requests in general for units. So the first things first, let me give an example. One time I was in LS, we just wrapped up a scene, I forgot what it was. I had to transport somebody, my car, it ran out of gas, and I was requesting at 32 and I was waiting for almost 10-20 minutes, and I couldn't move. There were units available, I saw them patrolling. I had a call out individual people after I requested anybody available to arrive. I believe one person came, he helped me, and then he just left after cooldown ended, and there's a priority. I feel like it's not professional in real life. If you had to do something and you couldn't transport somebody or you needed a unit, you wouldn't be waiting, I believe, that long, and people would know. Because, it's just...
Agreed. How would you guys feel having to sit there and call 32s and look stupid in front of a civ? Right? Try to put yourselves in whoever's calling for 32s. Good call, Knock. What else, sir?
Also, one thing about the supervisor requests, whenever I pull somebody over in a 10-11, I'll get into that sooner, but when they request for a supervisor, I could be requesting for a supervisor. It could also take a very long time. And the civilians say, which makes sense, that they're not going to proceed with the 10-11 until they get a supervisor. So I'm there waiting for a very long time for a supervisor. I can be talking in RTO, LEO chat, just whatever. But I feel like many units or supervisors can arrive sooner or later. One commendation I want to give to 2 units is Bagger and Steel, because they're the only 2 units I notice that show up to my 32 requests when I'm unmarked or just can't transport anybody. They're usually the people who go and help me, and I feel they should be good role models for other people and officers because just like in general, they're pretty good, but especially for the 32 requests because it just shows professionalism and maturity because
Good call out. Good call out. Wells or Smith, what channel is it where officers can recommend other officers or commend other officers? Do we have that?
I
Or
mean,
on
you
that?
can like
We can
create a
make one.
ticket.
Okay,
Yeah, we
let's
can
not
also
create a
make one.
ticket. Let's put a channel that everybody can see, and when we want to commend each other, we put it in that channel. You can. I know
Yeah, I'll make.
someone was taking notes. I think it was
set that up.
Green. Green, I think you were taking notes. So Green, make that an action item, please. Okay. Next, anything else, Mr. Knock?
yup. I just want to mention one thing about 1011s, then I should be done.
Go ahead,
when
sir.
you arrive at the 1011, I think it was Bagger who said it. You want to make sure you anchor your vehicle first of all, and that's the first thing you want to do. Then you radio it in, and then when you approach the 1011, I feel like some officers just go straight at it, just ask for their license registration, not even ask why they're being stopped, whatever. They just go straight in, and I feel like you should maybe set a good tone for yourself when you pull over somebody. So, like for example, when you stop them, and you go up, you ask them to roll down their windows so you can speak better, and then you ask how their day's going, blah blah blah, whatever. You just don't want to act so demanding or whatever, because then that causes problems for you, because it makes you look very, I guess you could say harsh, not harsh, but you know what I mean. And I feel like they would comply better if you just seem nicer and all that stuff.
Build that rapport. You guys would be surprised how many people I get, like, where it's a pleasant 10-11, just because I show them respect and I do what Knox says. Walk up, hey, I'm a Deputy Jones, Blaine County Sheriff's Office. How you doing today? You have any idea why I might have pulled you over? Just build a rapport and, oh, I was going a little fast. Yeah, good thing you stopped. I wouldn't have caught you, type of thing. And, build that rapport, and it de-escalates the situation. Good point, Knock. Anything else, sir?
No, but should be it. Every other point I was thinking was mentioned by, I believe, Sanchez, Bagger, and somebody else. I forgot his name, though.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Next up, Mr. Fire. Mr. K. Fire. I see you going off and on mute, but we can't hear you, sir. All right. While we wait for K Fire to get his technical difficulties under control, Mr. Kurd.
All right. So, as someone who's trained a lot of cadets in my time here, I just want to add on to what Knock is saying. That's something I really try and emphasize during trainings and during road evals and during 1019s. Is just be nice to the civs. I mean, like you said during your entire presentation, Jones, we're the face of the city. And if we are just going up to people and say license registration without talking to them, without doing anything, that's not gonna make people think good of us.
Definitely.
And, yeah, just adding some more RP into your interactions, which I've seen happen a lot, but like 1011s are still RP, regardless of whatever you may think is going on. Just be nice to them, like talk to them, ask them how their day is going, like introduce yourself professionally, all this stuff that's just common sense that you all know how to do. None of you don't know how to do this. Just talk to them, be nice, make the interaction better. It's pretty much all I gotta say.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're just going to do a couple more questions. I did want to announce that there is going to be an Air 1 tryout at 5:30 p.m. today. Other than that, let's get back down to it. So we've got a couple more questions, and I know Wiley wanted to step up and say something. So, Mr. Wiley, I'm going to invite you to the stage, sir.
Wiley told me it was an accident, unless if you want to say something.
No, he texted me. He texted me saying he wanted to.
Oh, what?
Okay, Bagger and Fire, you guys are the last two. Then we're going to have Wiley have a few words, and then we're going to get back out there and do some great work. Mr. Bagger, I see you accepted first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So right now, these things have just come to me. Like I just thought of them. One thing I do to check if I'm like, let's say, allowed or ready to leave is just ask anyone else on the RTO or the officer on lead if I'm allowed to leave or they need me anymore. Same with any SOT scene, fire scene. Whenever I ask if I'm, I don't know, ready to leave or if I'm not needed anymore. That way they don't need to call me back again and stuff. And one thing that is actually really annoying for my part is see, I don't know, high command supervisors or basically anyone from high rank, or basically anyone that doesn't need to be high rank, is whenever they're AFK, like for a long time, no, I don't know, 2 minutes, they stay on the RTO. So that way we think they're online and we call supervisors, high command, and we call them out, but they're not there. One thing that I do whenever I'm like away for a long time is I just go back to the radio doc channel. The first thing you go whenever you join. That way, I'm ready to come back whenever I'm ready to come back, and people doesn't call me back.
That's a really good idea. I think we might put that into our SOPs. Thank you, Bagger.
Yeah.
It might also be like sometimes they have to like deafen on the radio to listen to civs. I have to do that. So I mean, like it could also be that they are there, just unavailable.
Yep. And another thing I think it's really important to notice is that in the past week, before it was normal, but in the past week, I have not seen one cop at 10 and 9/11 call, like not one. I've seen like 2 people max the whole week, and basically no one else answers 911 calls. I understand if there's robberies or something, we do not answer to them. But if there's like guys saying, I got into a car accident, can anyone come down and help me? Either way, I come down and I don't know, try to call SL or someone, or just be there for them.
That's an interesting piece. I want to address that, Bagger. You're 100% correct. Everybody pisses and moans about, oh, it's priority to priority, it's bank robbery after bank robbery. But we have civs trying to start RPs with us, and we're not responding. So if you're available and a 911 call comes across, get that 911 call. Do the /R call and then the number, and it puts it into your CAD. It assigns you. It puts your postal.
The script is broken for
Is it broken?
our call.
Okay.
Yeah, it says there's an error with the CAD.
Bagger, take a note, and I'd like you to put a ticket in for that, please, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else, sir? Okay, if it doesn't come to you right...
I'm going to send you a video for how to set up the cam and some instructions.
Thank you, sir. Awesome. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Fire, and then we'll have Mr. Wiley say a few words.
Yo, so sorry about that earlier that I wasn't talking. So I just wanted to talk about, I don't think anybody has talked about this yet. It's about Signal 100. Because in high priority scenes, there's some units saying, show me back 10-8 during Signal 100. They shouldn't be saying that. Like, Signal 100 should only like be for emergencies. Like, they can only say something for emergencies. For example, they're being shot at or something.
Yes, definitely something that everybody needs to understand. Anything else, Mr. Fire?
No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Awesome job. Mr. Wiley, last but certainly not least, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody in the BCSO, really. I know there's been an awful lot of changes over the past 72 hours, and I hope you can see the reasons why these changes are happening, and you see them with the BCSO now. Big thank you to Parts as well for getting organised and getting the department back on track, really. I know you've been suffering for a long time with the points he raised in his PowerPoint presentation about, you know, things like favoritism and lack of recognition. So I'm hoping this is going a long way now. I did the survey less than a week ago, and I'd like everybody to think that that we've moved fairly quickly to address those issues and put in place a better team. If you've got any issues or concerns about the wider changes across the community, not just with BCSO, please just reach out to me, open up a ticket in the main Discord, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or explain to you the reasons why certain things are happening the way they are. But other than that, you know, big congratulations to everyone who's made it up to the new ranks, and yeah, let's keep going strong. Thank you.
Definitely. Thanks, Wiley, and thanks for giving us such a great place to play. Okay, everybody, thank you. That ends this meeting. I know that I heard there's a few more meetings. So Air 1 has an open tryout. CID has a meeting this afternoon. I think HSU is going to circle. So thank you for your attention, guys. If I can leave you with one thing, professionalism. If you're not professional, you're not going to be welcome in the BCSO. And I think every one of you is begging for professionalism from each other. So you need to do that from yourselves first. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Get out there and do great RP. Thank you.